All right. Okay. What day is it? It's Columbus Day. Okay. October the 12th, 2020. And I put a note up on my Facebook page that I'm working on a book. And the book is the culmination of 11 years of social media and all of the essays I put up here and here and there and here and there and there, and then getting them organized. Okay. And in the process of organizing the material, I'm organizing it in my head also. And I'm beginning to realize that I'm not who I thought I was. And I don't respond to what I thought I should respond to. And so I'm going through a process of re-identifying who I am. And it's a big surprise because already it occurred to me that I don't respond and answer the way I'm expected to by the people whom I believe are my family. All right. And they are not very warm to me. And the people who have been warm to me have not been the ones I expected. You see, when you're an orphan or a foster kid, it literally takes you your whole life to figure this out. And so, whose point of view will I come to champion when push comes to shove and I finally settle down? Well, I think I've done enough work to validate and verify that I am a peace-abiding and law-abiding person. Okay, can we agree there? All right. I've probably put up my copy of the Holy Laws of God hundreds of times in different places because that was the prototype for the common law constitution we have in this country right now. All right, so the law of Moses is kind of my grounding point. And if you've read them, and I'll put the link for you again, you find out that a person doing a good or harmless act should get a good outcome, and somebody refraining from doing a bad thing should get a good outcome, and a person who makes a mistake or does something bad has to get disrupted and corrected and put back on the path to doing good. Okay, so that's the moral grounding that I feel is true about who I am. All right, so regardless of who I identify with or connect with, they are not going to be radical, treacherous, two-faced, okay, double dealing. All right, they're not going to be like that. And I'm not going to be like that. And I don't want to be like that. So that's not what I model as good behavior. All right. So getting into, as I do, conspiracies and secrecy and the fables and mythologies of official bureaucracies and hierarchies that are taught fifth dimensional problem solving, which is subjective problem solving, by their illuminist masters. They have a way of solving a problem that doesn't work for me. All right. And you've probably heard about this way of problem solving many, many times. Okay. What they say is, we live in a hologram. We live in an illusion. There's no such thing as absolute truth. What's true is what everybody believes is true. 2 and 2 can equal 5. Okay, this is the Illuminati dogma about solving problems by all agreeing on what the problem is. And I don't go there. Because I grew up as a worker and I grew up on the ground, my experience is that life is not a head trip. It is not a consensus about beliefs or doctrines or dogmas or scriptures even. What it is, life is an experience of the senses that create outcomes that are memorable in terms of intention and purpose. So my problem-solving method is called seeking fairness, by seeking what the real truth is for all of the actors on the stage. And we're all actors on the stage, you know. This is the Truman Show in third dimensional metaphysics. And so we're not we who are advocating the reversion to Mosaic law, common core, a common law constitution, are saying that we don't want to define justice by a head trip or by policies that come at us from a galaxy 26,000 years ago, which said that there are superior races and inferior races, and the duty of the superior races is to dominate and control the inferior races and call the ones that don't conform to the correct ideology and hierarchy of accountability. All right, so I don't buy into the LMU Treaty. I don't buy into the Greada Treaty or the Tau 9 or the TPP for the same reason, because in those treaties, their laws are only rules. They're rule baiting. They have nothing to do with effects on the ground, what actually benefits people and what actually harms people. Those treaties have been written from the top down, and they're head trips, and they're not connected to reality. So those treaties have to be overturned. They have to be abrogated. They have to be rewritten and renegotiated. And that's what I'm here to do, to renegotiate treaties in which trade and commerce is more important than life itself. Okay, I'm here as a skilled negotiator, a facilitator in conflict and dispute analysis and resolution, to bring some of these problems into the spotlight so that they can finally be confronted and addressed, because they've been swept under the rug. The problem of maritime admiralty, UCC codes and trade treaties fundamentally having no human or rights to life is a problem. And it will continue to be a problem. All right. And I don't have my shield on tonight. I've been working on the books. I've been offline all day, but thank you for noticing. I'm following my father's point of view and his perspective from who he was. Okay, he was a person at the top of the pile, and he had to look out over everything. He had to pay attention to health and education and military and social services and funding and parliament and all of it. Okay. And so as my father's daughter, I do the same thing. And that's what my book is about, looking at the whole thing and finding the trends where we can actually make a difference to solve some problems, instead of just naming, blaming, and shaming. I'm righter than you, and we're righter than those people, and they're wronger and more righter. Oh, did you see the video from Keith Olbermann, who has returned to the video fray? I mean, it's heartbreaking. He needs help, He's got the, what do they call it? The Trump dysphoria syndrome. Okay. He's hating and hating and hating and hating. I don't want to do that. I don't know anybody who does want to do that. And so I work to untie the knots. When I used to go fishing with my parents when I was a little kid, Mom would sit in the rowboat, and she would undo the fishing tackle and untie the fishing tackle that was all in a great big ball in the bottom of the box. And so that's what I'm doing now, is untying and loosening up the knots in the fishing tackle of the social issues to make them simple, so that we can actually solve some problems. Now, President Trump has a background in business, and he knows how to negotiate with people who are narcissist. He knows how to deal with them. Good. I'm glad somebody does. I sure don't. Okay. In terms of strategizing. But I'm not strategizing. I'm just looking at what's true. I'm just looking at how do we get from here to there. Now, in England now, and I don't call it the UK anymore because it's not united. And the laws in England that substantiate the 1689 Bill of Rights and the rights to governance by consent are English law. They're not British law. So I'm following along with Graham Moore on that line of thinking, that it's English law that needs to be restored. Now, we all know that the Crown Corporation is enormous, has huge assets. And if a monarchy is simply done away with, all right, well, who is going to manage those assets? You see, somebody has to take the part of the people who work in all of those places of the Crown's assets. The Crown's assets are places where people work. They're places where people live. They're places where there are hospitals and libraries. They're people. You don't just cut them loose. The people who are Marxist or socialist or Islamist or communist, the ones who want to control everybody, are just waiting for the English people to let go of their common law rights so that the Islams and the communists and the socialists and all of those other people can glom on to the properties that were held in secure English law. The language needs some work. I'll tell you, the language needs some work. Indeed, yeah. And I realized that very young. I was just 15, living in San Francisco, and I took a course at San Francisco State when it was just a college from S.I. Hayakawa in semantics. And semantics has always been my passion, and I'm still working on the linguistic matrix to organize the English verbs into functions and roles so that we can regulate English so it makes sense to people. Well, that's something else that I do. All right. So yes, I've been thrown into a fit of confusion over what is going to be my point of view from which I speak. I speak from the point of view of my father, who was of the tribe of Judah, who was actually, the whole British monarchy is of the tribe of Judah, going back to King Zephaniah and King David, all the way back. And so I'm finding out lately that I'm more Jewish than I thought. Wouldn't that be a kick? I can go back to my lox and bagel and kreplach and, chicken soup. I make a good chicken soup. All right, so that's what I'm up to. And I might not be on tomorrow at all. I stay offline completely so I can work on the book. And I think the book is going to be fascinating because I'm pulling stuff from all over places and putting little vignettes and things and experiences in the middle. So hopefully my readers will get a giggle out of it, because that's what life is for, is to find what's good and to proceed with what's good, and to tell the people who are causing harm, come on, there's a better way to get about it, okay? And so this has been Emily Windsor Craig, and my website is called holyconservancy.org. And if you'd like to support my work, you can do that at PayPal and at Patreon. I'm Shakaya over at Patreon, and we'll just get on with it, okay? Thank you so much for coming by. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. All right.